Okay, so you've done it. You poured all that hard work into creating the perfect strategic plan. It's your North Star, right? But what happens next? I mean, how do you make sure it doesn't just end up sitting in a drawer somewhere, gathering dust? Well, that's what we're talking about today. We're going to dive into the who, all the people you absolutely need to bring that plan to life.
And this quote, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? A plan, by itself, well, it can't do a thing. It's just ink on paper, an inert object. The real magic, the part where things actually start happening, that comes from people.
So that's the million-dollar question, right? How do you actually bring it to life? How do you turn that static document into something that's, well, alive, a real movement? The answer? You need a solid, actionable strategy for engaging every single person who has a stake in your success. And don't worry, that's exactly what we're going to build together, step by step. All right, here's the game plan for today. First, we'll talk about why a plan just isn't enough on its own. Then we're going to map out your stakeholder world. After that, we'll figure out who matters most, and maybe more importantly, what's in it for them. Then we'll pull it all together into an actionable comms plan. And stick around, because we've got one final ingredient at the end. Okay, first things first. A plan is not enough. Think about it this way. You've built this amazing car. That's your North Star, your strategic plan. But a car doesn't go anywhere without fuel. And in this case, the fuel, the power source that actually makes your plan move, it's people. So before we go any further, let's make sure we're on the same page with a key term, stakeholder. What is it? Super simple, really. It's anyone, and I mean anyone, who is affected by your work or has the power to affect it. We're talking about the obvious ones, your participants, your funders, but also your volunteers, your staff, even the local community.
And that brings us to stakeholder engagement. Now, this is a really important point. This is not just sending out a newsletter. That's just talking at people. Engagement is an active process. It's strategic. It's about building genuine two-way relationships that actually help turn your plan into a reality.
All right, so where do we even start with all this? Well, the very first step is to map out your stakeholder world. You've got to know who you're talking to, right? So we're going to create a universe of everyone connected to your work. Get a bird's eye view of the whole landscape. And to make this easier, we can break everyone down into three main groups. First up, you've got your internal core. Think of them as the engine room of your organization, your staff, your board, your volunteers. Next is your external network. These are the people you actively work with, like participants, funders, and partners. And finally, there's the external environment. This is the wider community, parents, local government, anyone with an interest or influence. Okay, now for a reality check. You can't talk to everyone all the time with the same amount of energy. It's just not possible, right? You'd burn out. So the next step is absolutely crucial. It's figuring out who matters most. It's all about prioritizing your efforts so you can focus your energy where it's going to have the biggest impact.
So how do we do that? How do we prioritize? It actually comes down to two surprisingly simple but incredibly powerful questions that you need to ask for every single group on your map. Question 1, how much power do they have over your success? And question 2, how much interest do they have in your success? And when you ask those two questions, bam, you get this, the power interest matrix. It gives you 4 clear strategies. Look at the top right, high power, high interest. These are people like your main funder. You need to manage them closely. Top left, high power, low interest. Think local government. Your job there is to keep them satisfied. Bottom right, low power, high interest. This is often your participants. You want to keep them informed and happy. And bottom left, low power, low interest. You just monitor them. See how this tool just cuts through the noise? It's amazing.
All right, so we know who we need to talk to, and we know how much attention to give them, but what do we actually say? This is the next big piece of the puzzle. And here's the secret, the thing that changes everything. It's not about you, it's about them. You have to answer their one big question, what's in it for me? You'll hear this called WIFM. It's all about empathy.
Let's make this real with an example. Funders, your goal, your perspective, is to show them your progress. But their WIFM, what they're really thinking is, show me the impact and prove you're being responsible with my money. So you see the shift? You're not just reporting activities. You're framing everything in terms of their investment and the return on that investment. How about your core volunteers? I mean, from your side, the goal is pretty straightforward. Get stuff done. But from their side, their WIFM is totally different. They need to feel valued. They want to see that their time and effort is actually making a difference. It's not just about ticking off a to-do list for them, it's about purpose. And let's do one more. Your participants. Your goal might be to increase signups, but what are they thinking? Their WIFM is super direct. Is this going to be fun? Am I going to learn something cool? Will I meet new people? They couldn't care less about your 5-year strategic goals, right? They care about what's happening for them right now. Okay, let's do a quick check-in on where we are. We've gone on a bit of a journey here. First, we mapped our world to see everyone involved. Second, we prioritized our focus using that awesome power/interest matrix. Third, we figured out their WIFM, what really matters to each group. Now, we are ready to put all of these pieces together.
And this, my friends, is where the rubber meets the road. This is the moment we've been building towards. We've done all the thinking, all the mapping, all the prioritizing. Now we're going to bring it all together into one simple, super powerful document that makes this whole strategy real.
And here it is, the one-page communication plan. Look how simple this is. It takes everything we've talked about and puts it on a single page. You've got your stakeholder, their priority level from the matrix, their WIFM that we just figured out, and then the action steps, how you're going to talk to them and how often. This is what turns a big floating strategy into a simple checklist you can actually use every week.
Okay, so you have your North Star plan. You have your people plan to make it happen. You're feeling good, right? You're ready to go. But hold on, there is one more thing, one final absolutely critical ingredient that we haven't talked about yet.
And that final ingredient? It's resources. I'm talking about money, time, people, the actual fuel for the engine. Because let's be honest, to run the programs, to send the communications, to manage everything and actually achieve the goals in your plan, you have to be able to pay for it.
And that leaves us right here with this one last massive question. Your strategic plan is crystal clear. Your people plan is mapped out and ready to go. You know who to talk to and what to say. But how are you going to fund it all? How will you get the resources to make this whole beautiful machine run? Well, that's the next big piece of the puzzle, isn't it?